Hi, everyone. My name is Mel Robertson, and I'd like to welcome you to Happiness is Your Own Damn Fault. What we're talking about is how to drop the baggage, increase your frequency, and live a bliss-filled life. Now, I decided to put this summit together for you because I want you to know that happiness is equally available to everyone, no matter the circumstances that you've endured. So no matter what you've been through, you can choose happiness now. Happiness is your birthright. It is your natural state of being underneath all the baggage you've been dragging around with you for all those years. So what I wanted to do for you is interview people who are truly happy and get them to share with you their secrets on how they let go of the past, stopped worrying about the future, and started living their bliss. And today I'm excited to welcome Deidre. And I chose her because she is an intuitive vibrational catalyst, and I'm all about raising our vibration to experience true bliss. Anne is a best-selling author and spiritual book publisher, intuitive life coach, visionary artist, and sought-after international speaker who has been featured on ABC TV, New Hampshire Chronicle News Magazine, HuffPost Live, Fox News Radio, NPR, CBS Radio, Business Talk Radio, Examiner.com, and many global telesummits. Anne works with divine energy and frequency that includes spirit, ascended masters, archangels, and each soul's divine self to shift energetic patterns, clear and heal trauma, catalyze dormant gifts and talents, and ignite the divine intuitive power within each person. Anne's transformational gifts allow her to intuitively shine a light into a client's energy system and illuminate their hidden and or dormant divine gifts and talents that their soul is here to share. Her unique and powerful healing gifts allow her to shift her clients' energetic patterns, heal trauma, and create new patterns in her clients' chakra and energy systems so that they can bring their divine gifts to the world. Please visit www.annedeidre.com for your free Awaken Your Divine Intuitive Power gift set. Welcome, Anne. What an honor it is to have you here.
Thank you so much, Mel, and it such warms my heart to hear you talk about frequency and speak the language that I've been guided to share for so long and have heard from people over the years. What is that? What's vibration? What's frequency? And to be able to talk to you today about it and your listeners is so great. It's such an honor.
I'm super excited, too. I know it's been a language I've been hiding for years, so I'm coming out of the closet in a whole new way now.
Right. I remember I was talking about frequency a few years ago to my husband. He said, "Are you sure you want to call it that?" I said, "Well, that's what it is."
Right.
It doesn't really sound very marketable. But I don't do things for marketing reasons anymore, and it just works out.
Oh, excellent. Well, I'm so honored to have you here, and I'm super, super excited about this conversation we're going to have. But before we get started, I'd love for you just to share a little bit more about yourself and how you came to do the work that you're doing in the world with our audience.
Thank you so much. Yes, it came from a place of not understanding frequency and vibration for most of my life. I didn't realize I was intuitive till about 10 years ago. I just turned 40, and I had what is now I call a dark night of the soul, but it really felt like a nervous breakdown, and I'm channeling right now as I'm talking. And what happened was the nervous energy, all the dense energies that I'd been carrying for so many decades, what I know now, if I'd only known then, I don't even think I would have had a bad day. But many of us are really early light workers, I want to call pioneers, trailblazers. And so what that means is many of us have been taking on energy either collectively in our families, our own experiences, and really transmuting that energy and returning it back to light. That's what I know now. As I did that as an artist, painting as a hobby. Writing came later. But most of the time people that knew me just thought I was really emotional but also, really nice person at the same time, or sensitive. So the sensitivity that I was carrying ultimately led to this place where I couldn't even function, Mel, for 10 months. I was catatonic. I couldn't feel, see, through this, and I prayed like crazy. I found a meditation technique called Kriya Yoga, and it was in a magazine where it talked about receiving the divine. And I managed to get to the health food store and got a copy of this free magazine, came home and read it, and I saw a picture of Yogananda, who I didn't know at the time, in 2004, was an ascended master avatar saint. And there was also a picture of this man, Norman Paulson, in the same article. And I could see from reading the article that Yogananda had passed away, and Norman was still alive in California at the Solar Logos Sanctuary in Lompoc and right north of Santa Barbara. And I ordered the tape and meditation book, which was Sacred Science, Meditation, Transformational Illumination. I sat lotus style in my living room while my kids were in the other room watching TV, and I did this meditation. And after 2 weeks, I could hear this voice very clearly say, "You will write a book." And I could see the book in my mind's eye. It was actually one of my paintings I had done and never thought much about. And I could see words around it, and I could hear this voice so clearly. And I went in to my living room, and I don't even think I had a computer at the time, and just started writing in a notebook this book. And I wrote it within a month. And from then, it was just life-changing. Miracle after miracle kept happening. And that's because I was raising my vibration through this meditation and uncluttering all this other energy that had accumulated all of my life.
I love that. Now, you talked about during the dark night of your soul that you were initiated into Christ consciousness. Can you talk about what that is for people?
Yeah, so what happened was with this particular meditation, Kriya Yoga, it's a very specific meditation. I learned to breathe up through my spine, and I didn't even know the chakras back then. You didn't need to know them. I counted. I could say I am that I am at the crown or the top of my head, and breathe back down. I did that 24 times. I teach that meditation if anybody wants to know more about it, but it's Kriya Yoga. You can look it up. And after I did that for a couple of weeks, I could hear this voice more clearly, my intuition more clearly than ever. And then a couple months later, I was, all of a sudden I was in space after I was meditating. And I can just tell you, I'd never even paid attention to Star Trek, but I could see there were stars around, and I could see this vortex of light. And just as Norman had described in his book, that there was this spiraling white energy and light, and I could see it coming towards me. And I could hear this sound of creation, which I couldn't duplicate if I tried. It was just the deepest, most powerful Om reverberating where I was in this place, and this white light came through me. And Norman had talked about this in his book, Sacred Science, that this was the initiation or baptism of the Christ consciousness. And then from then, I remember just kind of, after that happened, I knew that something life-changing had happened. And more of my intuitive abilities and gifts began to become unleashed, my psychic abilities, my spiritual energy, chakra clearing abilities, all of these things. I've learned since then I really came in or incarnated into this planet to do this, but like I said, most of my life I didn't know that. So now I'm just really on a mission, and I connect with so many people like you and people worldwide where they know what we're talking about, and I feel like mainstream, eventually it'll all translate.
Yeah, it feels like it's coming so much more mainstream now that it's so much easier to talk about. So
yeah, back then I couldn't talk to anybody about it. It was like,
right?
What? And I didn't.
Like,
you went into space,
Yeah,
I didn't say that out loud.
Talking to people, they just started looking at me like I was crazy. Like, you're really out there, girl. Like, yeah.
Yeah, right. I remember saying, like, I talked to God, like, very personally, like a mystic. I said, when am I going to talk about this space thing? I said, not that I'm in a hurry, but I felt like, it's that was really something. But now's the time. This happened 10 years ago or so. Yeah, that was
right. Can you talk about some of the challenges that you faced once, like, you had your awakening and you started moving on this path and started accepting the fact that you were intuitive and realizing these gifts? What kind of challenge you faced and overcome?
Yeah, because then I found out about alignment. I found out that for a lot of my life I wasn't living it from my own truth, and that everybody else's opinions and things that I thought I should be doing were the bigger voices in my head and influencing me, really subconsciously in certain respects. Maybe I wanted my parents to be proud of me. So I'm not saying that it was, anything obvious anybody did through conditioning, parents, teachers, friends, or whatnot. But in retrospect, I recognized that who I knew I could be or whatever I thought I wanted to do, I wasn't always doing from a place of complete authenticity and truth, because I didn't even know what that was.
Right.
So when I went through this experience, I realized that it was important that I that a lot of things that, let's say, vibrated out of my life. You know, my first marriage did end. Jobs changed, everything, and it continues to do so. There's like almost like a clean sweep in my life every now and then, except I don't panic about it. I recognize that as my vibration and as I go higher in different dimensional levels while I'm here on Earth, because we can be in heaven on Earth, that I know that my calling is leading me towards an evolution of more. And for anybody in my life that is on board with that, it's great. But yeah, I have lost good friends over the years, and that's been difficult. But I'm so grateful for this experience that like-minded people do come into my life. So yeah, there's a combination of loss and gain, if you will, through this process.
Absolutely. I love that you said that things vibrated out of your life, because I think that's such an important thing for people to understand and really get, is that we are energy and everything is vibration. And when you raise your frequency above the level of like belief patterns and structures or people that are no longer serving you, that stuff has to fall away or rise up. It has two choices. So it's like when you change your vibration and raise your frequency, that stuff does fall away. It's easy. It's effortless when you raise your vibration.
It does. And then to work on the piece of the emotional component, I am a life coach and I work with people as I've worked in my own life to help recognize the mental realm, the emotional realm. We are emotional. We can have a perception about something we think is happening in our life, and it's not that at all. So I love, with my intuitive gift, to help people be accurate about what's happening so that they don't have to suffer needlessly.
Yeah, absolutely, because it all does come down to our perception of things.
It does. We have grief. We can process it. We can be sad. But what if in all the sadness and grief we're experiencing, there's like this, big central sun saying, this just got cleared to invite you into this other experience. And love is never lost, really. Love is eternal. So we never lose anything that is truly of the essence of love. So there is no loss, really. But how we perceive that and judge that can impact how quickly we and how gracefully we navigate our lives.
And how do you help people start to shift their perspective?
I help them pay attention to what their thoughts are. Again, as an intuitive psychic life coach, really, I can pick up and excavate with my clients what their subconscious beliefs are that they don't even know that they're carrying, which is really helpful because you don't know what you're broadcasting to the universe necessarily, and you're wondering why you have what you have. It's like, oh, because you're telling it this. Oh,
right.
Okay.
Yeah, we're so unconscious most of the time. Yes,
and programming that we've picked up from various places and that doesn't even belong to us. Yeah, I just did a whole tour with Fox News, and it was St. Patrick's Day and creating our own luck. And so I was explaining to some of the hosts across the country on Fox News that we get we might be telling ourselves we're unlucky. I mean, do you really pay attention? Do we pay attention to what we tell ourselves? Not unless we apply consciousness. And you're like, whoa, I'm walking around telling myself I'm not enough, I'm unlucky, all of these things. And because our thoughts have energy, there goes in the law of attraction to magnetize those things. However, I've also learned, since we all probably may have heard about that and said, oh no, what am I thinking about? I do feel that we don't need to be afraid of that. It's like, if you do want to know what you're thinking, look around in your life, right? How's your career? How's your relationship? How's your home? What are your thoughts? And just don't judge them. Say, oh, these are indications of what you're expressing, maybe even without realizing it.
Yeah, and it happens in layers. It's like, if people think that, like, you never have a negative thought again when you, like, start living your bliss or something, that's not true. All the thoughts are still there. It's just whether you continue to give your attention to them or not, whether you choose to keep feeding them or you choose to think about the higher vibrational thoughts.
Yes, that is mastery, and I recognize in the past year in particular, my guides come in and have been showing me not just about meditating with the Kriya Yoga, although I still do that, but also my life is a living meditation. For instance, I'm writing another book about high vibe living. I had been drinking coffee for a number of years and going on green tea, then the coffee, but it always felt like I was and it was like boot camp. I didn't really voluntarily want to give up the coffee necessarily, like I did with cigarettes years ago. You know, like anything I do, Mel, it's like it just falls away. You know, that's what I believe, ease and grace. But the coffee wasn't happening like that. I had to like avoid it or not go get it and stuff. And then one day my guide said to me, pay attention to your thought around it. So I said, okay. And then I realized when I got up in the morning, the thought was, you love coffee. And then I went, oh, I never really heard that before. And then I heard my guide say, question that. I'm like, do I really love coffee? And so I started to pay it. I know, right? So I got the coffee that day. I drank it, and my heart started racing, and all of a sudden I'm like, do I really love this? And then I had power. And now I still get that thought, but it floats by. That voice still says you love coffee. I just go, uh-huh.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So the mastery and the gurus, what I understand is, you know, we all have this ability to attain this consciousness and to recognize that those thoughts may not stop. And the way the great masters teach us meditation is the thoughts pull up like a train to a station and then pull away. So it's not avoiding the thoughts. It's not resisting them. It's even smiling, treating each with equanimity. Oh, there's that thought about coffee again. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. Oh, just acknowledging. Hi. There you go. Oh, there you went.
Yep.
I love thought is so
catching
powerful.
yourself.
I mean, yeah. And thought is so powerful, like what you choose to think, because that's exactly how I quit smoking. Is I had someone suggest to me to change the way I thought about it. Instead of thinking I'm quitting smoking and I'm doing this quitting thing, to change my perspective, and when I woke up in the morning, to think of myself as a non-smoker. I'm a non-smoker. Not that I'm quitting. I'm just a non-smoker.
That is so much better. Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have any physical craving. Like, for me, what I needed to do was, like, I chewed on, like, straws. I cut them the size of, like, cigarettes so that I would have that replacement of putting something to my mouth and sucking on, but I only needed that for, like, 2 days. And no physical cravings, no irritability, nothing.
That's
it was
powerful.
the easiest time I'd ever quit smoking. I was like, wow, and I've never started smoking again. And now I've, like, tested, you know how, like, you know, in 12-step programs, it's like once you're addicted, you're always addicted. It's always going to have power over you. Well, I wanted to prove something to myself, and because I was so addicted to smoking, and the nicotine is addictive, I've tried smoking since, and it doesn't have that same addictive quality anymore.
Wow.
Like, I'm just like, ooh, I don't want that. So it's powerful. You can totally shift that.
Yes, and that's great. You can't be in two places at once energetically. You know, they say perfect love casteth out fear or whatever. It's like, so if you can, I also invite myself and anybody I work with to really feel the feelings that are coming through, though, so that we're not in resistance. So we do want to reframe, but what you're talking about is different. Somebody's positive thinking just for positive thinking's sake, I don't feel works, because you're not changing at the level of your being. But what you did with cigarettes, you became the non-smoker, you see. So there's a combination of working with energy and thought.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And the natural state of our being is bliss. So if we uncover the things in our energy field, like the thoughts, so we just naturally become happier and uncover that blissful place within us. I find that in the second chakra with people. There's that true bliss, that like childhood, you know, inner child that can be inner children can be very cranky if you don't pay attention to that part of ourselves. It's really important. But think about that carefree state, that blissful state. That is naturally who we are, without all the control and conditions of everything that we get to question when we become spiritual adults in our lives.
I love that. I mean, my wife and I have that practice in our life where we try to stay childlike as much as possible, even in our relationship. We like play like children together and try to keep it light. It's so powerful to just have the expectancy and the awness of life of a child, you know, just so in awe and expectant and excited for everything. Yes,
I'm like that all the time. Even when I'm psychic and I'm doing gallery readings, I have 100 or so people in my audience, and I'm reading for people, and people are, you know, their jaws drop and all that. I'm just as excited and in awe. And I watch the Long Island Medium. She does that too, so I don't feel, you know, gosh, maybe I should. But I really feel now like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. It's not like, oh yeah, of course I knew that. You know, it's like, no, it's always like, wow, the way the power of the spirit can work through me and all of us is awesome.
It is, and when you don't think that like you can feel it any deeper or expand any bigger, like you do, and it just keeps getting bigger and better every day. The blissful feeling.
Yeah. Which when I hear you talking about that, it's like part of that happiness comes from that. It's reminding me, no matter what our childhood was like, there was a certain part of us that were natural receivers when we were children. It's not about religion, like Christmas morning or Hanukkah, whatever. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm just open to presents and birthday, and ooh, this is great, and the universe does respond. Oh, you like that? Watch this. Here's more of that. Oh,
yeah. Yep. Oh, yep. I like that too. So here's more. Awesome.
Yeah, it's a benevolent, kind universe, not one that, oh, you like that? I'm taking that away. I feel like some of us had trust issues over that because we haven't had, things coming from generosity, perhaps, but the natural state of happiness and joy and all of that, I feel like the generosity of our own spirit and being receptive to the generosity of others is helpful too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Anne, how does the work you do in doing the intuitive life makeover, how does that help bring happiness for people?
In this program, when I work with people, I help uncover all the belief systems from root to crown, talking 7 main spiritual centers in the body, and unravel and dissolve. I catalyze energy and I dissolve blocks. I channel and blocks just dissolve and collapse throughout the whole energetic system. So the natural impact of that is that people feel lighter and better after they work with me.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. And what do the chakras have to do with happiness?
Each of those centers that we have, the 7 main ones, and I've been working with people with the chakras above the head too, like the 9th chakra, uncovering dormant gifts and abilities from past lives. And there's just so much energy and information available to us. Each of the chakras contains very personal and unique information. And we're unlike anybody else on the planet. We all have such a unique signature. So the chakras carry the vibrations and frequencies and information that can help unlock what's original and unique about us, which naturally lends itself to feeling good and feeling happy and feeling on purpose. And, the root is about foundation and stability, not because you have a, high-paying job. That's not it. It comes from within. So the chakras, to me, have unlocked people's wealth within them. And that's what I find in all the centers. Yeah. Yeah,
unlocks the wealth of them. Now, do you find when you're working with people uncovering the beliefs, do you find that you're uncovering beliefs that go beyond this lifetime, that people have been carrying around with them for, long-time patterns?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Core. Some get really deep. And so there's this core, because I do feel that we come back throughout each lifetime to evolve and come in. It's a good thing. I mean, this particular lifetime for all of us is up for the greatest, review to live in bliss, permanently on Earth. We've all been helping shift the global consciousness of this planet, particularly those. I work with women born in the 1940s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. With all of us that know what we're talking about here, we've been shifting things on a grand and global scale. So what that means is that it's more available than ever to be blissful in this lifetime. There's no need to, there's no karma, there's no anything that we have to make good on. This is it. So that's why I've been guided to do this work going on 8 years officially as a psychic reader and coach, and I just naturally was guided by spirit to help. I couldn't believe it, the first client I ever had, and she just signed up for a coaching program. I've written a book, and everybody said, if you write a book, you can coach. Well, I hadn't coached anybody for 3 years when I had coaching on my website, and the first person that coached with me wanted to go 4 more weeks and 4 more weeks. And, some people I work with for going on 4 years, and that's because there's a lot of stuff that we're carrying around. But as we're uncovering all this stuff, what we're doing is we're realizing how much more that is available to us. So some of my clients that are going on 4 years are actually now, when they were potentially, grieving some parents that had lost, they also work in psychic mediumship ability, working through the different things. And now a lot of them are highly creative entrepreneurs, professional photographers, all kinds of gifts and talents come up while I'm working with people. Uncover that stuff that's holding them back, and then letting in the light to illuminate what they're really here. And with that, I know in my own case, like my job now is helping other people find their calling. So it's great work. I work as a hospice aide too, very, very sporadically. I've had other jobs while I built my business that I felt were in alignment, like licensed nurses aide and things and hospice worker. But this is what I do full time now. So I know there's so many gifted people on the planet just ready to burst out.
It's such an exciting time to live in right now. I remember, like, back in, 1998, reading about, like, the Mayan calendar in 2012 and thinking,
wow.
Earth is going to be this, like, amazing city of light come 2012, and we're all going to be awakened, and we were all going to be able to ascend together as a planetary consciousness, and, and now seeing us get past 2012 and really see the energy start to shift. Like, for a long time, it didn't really feel that hopeful. And now the energy has shifted so much, and, like, you just feel so many more people are awakening, and so many more people are receptive and ready and are doing this work, and they're clearing the baggage. Like, they're dropping the baggage. It's just energy, and, like, huge shifts are happening. It's such an exciting time to be alive right now.
It really is. I heard a spiritual teacher say there's no parking room left because even the ascended masters are being reincarnated, and they all want to be here. Like, we did it. They're like, we did
Everyone's
it.
Everyone's here, yeah.
I'm not leaving the party now.
We're all ready to go together finally. It's the first time it's ever going to happen.
That's great.
Awesome. Well, I'd love for you to talk about for a second just what's the differences between happiness and joy, because I think that would be a good distinguishing to talk about.
Yeah, happiness are those moments, very gratifying moments, like you celebrate something, but it doesn't have to be fleeting. To understand that the emotional body has ups and downs. So we have the mental body, the emotional body, the physical body, and the spiritual body. The spiritual body is constantly at bliss. If you are connected 24/7 with your higher self, like the Ascended Masters are, they are perpetually in some bliss and joy. Okay, we all have that ability.
Yes.
We also, while we're in a body on Earth, have the mental realm and the emotional realm. We talked about the mental realm, and those thoughts will come in. Now, those thoughts can produce an emotion that can cause an emotion of happiness, elation, or sadness, or grief, or, if you can, I just speak very personally. My mother passed away at the end of January, and I was just noticing in my house, I was putting some of her teacups up on the shelf, and I'm watching my energy with that. Yes, it does make me a little sad, but it's also bringing me great joy. But I'm managing my emotions with this, and because I do work with people and work on my own stuff, it's like, yes, it's good to feel things. It's good to really process your emotions fully. But understand you can be happy one minute and sad the next, but doesn't necessarily mean that you're not a joyful being inside. I mean, you absolutely are joy at the core. So honor your emotions. I say honor your emotions. And when you're having those happy moments, appreciate them. You're going to have more of those because anything you appreciate expands.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to just reiterate that you said that, like, honor your emotions. I think we're just in a society that teaches us to do anything but feel and do everything but get present. We just stay so distracted. So we're emotional beings. We were put on this earth to feel our way through. Emotions are our guidance system. So, yeah, being present with them and just allowing them to come up and arise and notice them and let them go is the way they need to move. They're just energy.
Yeah, that's beautifully said. And creativity helps with that a lot, too. I realize now when I was painting, I am a professional artist at this point, but for a good 10 years I was painting because I was going through some difficult things in my life. But the painting, the creativity, writing, journaling, all of those things help move the emotions and helps you process them. I mean, I like a bowl of ice cream every now and then, but I'd rather have it and just enjoy it, not because I'm trying to block something I don't want to feel. And because that's stuck in the chakras. And I know from being a chakra coach, like, that just doesn't go away because you're not thinking about it. So you got to process those emotions and feel them fully.
Yeah, it is the only way to true freedom. I spent my entire life running from my emotions, using drugs and any way that I could possibly not feel, and learning how to feel and learning that my emotions weren't going to kill me when I would sit with them was like a huge learning process that I had to learn. I had to learn to trust that I could handle my emotions that came up first. And once I started to give myself permission to feel a little bit, it made it that much easier. And each time my confidence built that those emotions weren't going to overtake me. They were just going to rise up, and they were going to do what they do, and they were going to go away if I didn't get in the way and try to stop them.
Yeah, as you're talking, you reminded me. I did quit smoking, I guess, 7 years ago, very easily at that point, and never looked back. But I remember a time when I thought, this cigarette is my best friend, and anything that happened in my life, if I didn't have a cigarette nearby, it was like I didn't feel like I could handle it. So it's kind of shocking to look back at that, but at the same time, do you know what I'm talking about? It's like,
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I'm going to do this because I'm thinking it's helping me, but it's kind of ironic how it isn't the case. But if you have a tendency to just run towards things instead of feeling your emotions, it's harder to realize that once you just feel the emotion and let it go, it's going to be gone.
Yeah,
process
promise it won't kill you.
Keep coming back. Yeah, not like the other stuff. Right.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, we're getting pretty close to running out of time, so one thing that I love to talk about with all my guests, Anne, is what living a bliss-filled life actually means to you and kind of looks like for you today, if you wouldn't mind sharing.
Yeah, feeling everything now is such a precious thing to me. Feeling everything that's going on and being my own best friend now, taking such good care and self-care that, we can reparent ourselves, we can have, be our own best friend. And so that's really, I feel like, a great message for happiness and bliss. Yes, it's wonderful to have very good friends in the support system in our lives, but when we recognize that we are the ones we've been waiting for, we can absolutely take care of ourselves on the deepest level with everything. And I saw a picture on Facebook the other day. It was an elephant holding its own tail, and it said it's something about it had been in like captivity and had been, and it was just this beautiful picture. And I just thought about that the other day, like, give yourself a hug, just really take care of yourself and just have that. And I feel like when you do that, you have more friends and support than you ever dreamed of. When you hold on to nothing, you'll have everything. But be your own source of happiness and listen to your feelings and thoughts and emotions.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you so much. You also have an amazing free gift that you're giving to everyone, the Awaken Your Intuitive Power gift set. You want to talk about that for a second?
Sure. That is a audio. It's a chakra clearing and activating gift set, Awaken Your Divine Intuitive Power, with 16 pages, I believe, of great excavation of learning about your own energy system and channeled audio with divine energy. All of my products are muscle tested. They're all very high energy. And so this is a gift bundle for everybody to activate and become their more intuitive, powerful selves.
Awesome. Thanks so much for sharing that. That's a wonderful gift. I can't wait to actually start clearing my chakras myself.
Oh, great. It's been so great talking with you, Mel. You're awesome.
Oh, thanks so much. Likewise. And before we go, do you have any parting words you'd like to leave our audience with?
I'm sending blissful blessings to everybody.
Take that energy in. Feel it go from head to toe. Everyone, thank you so much for being here and listening. And I just want to remind you that happiness is an inside job, and it is equally available to everyone. We're living in a time now where we can choose to drop whatever baggage we've been carrying around. We can drop the old stories. It just starts with a choice. You are powerful beyond measure. All you need to do is tap into the divine power that created you and follow the guidance you're given. You were born to be happy, experience joy, and live an abundant, blissed out, and spacious life. I want to hear from you, so hit reply to this email and share your thoughts with me. And it has been such a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for being on my show.
Thank you so much, too, Mel. Namaste.
Namaste.